Hello. That's it, Carol. You guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Thank you. It's so quiet. I should have had music going at the beginning.
Hi, Sheila. Yeah, it's awfully quiet.
I am. Thank you for being human. I appreciate that. I've never had a Zoom so quiet in the beginning before.
Everybody's muted.
Yep. It's a good sign. Hi, Tara.
Hi, everyone.
Great fisherman
Hi,
doing?
Sheila.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Sue.
Hi.
I know that house and barn and everything on that
Yeah.
picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One
Good.
of the prettiest farms in North Brookfield.
Sure is.
There is.
So I think I'm going to let everybody log in till about like 6:33, 6:35, just to make sure everybody's in.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Sheila,
Hi,
I'd
everybody. Yeah,
like to record this, but you have to give me permission.
I'm already recording it.
I know, but I figured two of us never hurt.
Oh, if you want to, I don't know, did you hit the button? I haven't seen anything come up.
It says, please request record permission from the meeting host.
Okay.
I mean, as long as somebody is recording it, and you are.
I am. Oh, Tina's going to sing for us. Thanks for using the chat, Tina. That's fantastic. Hopefully we have more people who know how to use that and can use that too. We'll go over some of the controls at the beginning too. And it's 6:31, but guys, if you're just coming in or if you've been here for a couple minutes, I'm going to wait just a couple more minutes to just make sure people are in. So what I can't see to the master plan team is everybody who's logged in. So if anybody wants to kind of, oh, I do have a participants. Can I dump that out? Ask to mute, place down, enable. I don't think I can pop out the list of participants, the people who are in here. So if one of you can record the people who have attended, as long as they've got names, that would be great. I don't know if you can see that, but on your controls, there's a spot that says participants and it says how many people. And I'm gonna ask you not to do that because you're gonna be doing a lot of work.
Right, I will
But if
not
maybe
do
one
that.
of the other master plan team members could do that, that would be really great. Hey, Jack. Hi, guys. Hi, Kim. I don't know what those little symbols are you've got on there in the chat.
Oh, hi, Harbor.
Hi, Anne. Had to
I
put my,
can't see everyone. Hi, Alan.
Hi,
hi, Anne.
hi, Ann.
Thanks for coming. I can't see everyone, so hi, everybody. We're gonna wait a few more minutes. Oh, Dave and Eva, hi.
Oh, hi, Dave and Eva.
Anybody have any troubles with anything? Everybody seems to be in okay. That's pretty great. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna see if I can send a link over to someone. I don't know if that blacks out your screen for a second, but I'm gonna try to send an email to somebody trying to get in. Is Bob Locatelli? Does anybody see Bob Locatelli in here?
I don't see him.
I don't see Bob either.
He's asking me if he has the right link. Oh, I think he was trying to join. It should be at the bottom.
There, tell him he has to do a password.
Okay. Let me see if I can get back over to here. You guys got the screen back over there?
Yes.
Okay, let me put that back. Whoop, not that one. There we go. Oh. Hey, Bob. How's it going? Yeah, what's up? Okay. I got a few people calling me trying to get in. All right, let me tell you guys, if you have anybody who's looking to get in or they're texting or calling you and they're looking for a password, they can definitely go on to the North Brookfield website and go on to either the North Brookfield Downtown Development page, I think it's on there, or the main screen, actually. I think our link is on the main screen, you can get in there. Does anybody know what the password is? I don't actually have that on me. Maybe I can pass that to a couple people. Do you have it written down?
841627.
Whoa, I'm sorry, what?
841627.
841627.
That's if my memory is okay.
Okay, hold on. I got one more.
I'm not sure that's right.
Yes, that's right.
This is typical. Happens every time, right? Sorry for the delay.
That's okay.
Okay, guys, sorry about that. It is 6:37. I'm gonna get us started. Hopefully, oh, I got one more person asking for the password. Let me give that one out and then hopefully we can get going right here. There you go. All right, that's Danny Roman. He's from the playground committee he's trying to get into. So I'll start us off. If you guys are good, welcome everybody. We're so glad that you're here. I'm Sheila Orsi. I'm one of the hosts here. The Master Plan Forum Committee is really excited to have you all here. We got 28 people. That's pretty amazing. This is the first time I've ever done this kind of a thing with this many people. So hopefully we can keep everything in control and we can all be respectful of each other tonight and get some really good feedback and answers from you. So tonight is one out of 3 or 4 forums that we're going to have. We really request that you come to the other ones that we're going to have as well. They're really important to us as a master plan committee that we get your input and information on each section that we're going to be working on. So tonight we're focusing on open space and recreation. I'm going to introduce the team real quick. I'm Sheila Orsi. Sue Lyons is also there if you want to give a wave, Sue. We've also got Bob Locatelli on the team. We've got, Bob, you going to wave? There you go. We got John Turner on the team. We have Brandon Avery on the team. And dear God, I hope I'm not forgetting any of us. Well, Ian, of course, because she's going to host for tonight. So Ian Hicks is hosting us tonight. We've got a really great team. We've been working really hard over trying to get stuff done over the COVID process. And we're finally at the ending stretch here to finalize our master plan. Again, we're super excited that you're all here. So just to move on real quick. We've got myself and Ian are going to be here. Ian's going to be the one doing most of the talking for you tonight. I'm your host. So we're going to go through a couple of Zoom etiquettes. If any of you are not familiar with Zoom and the controls at the bottom or top of your screen, I'm going to go through a couple with you real quick so that you can see how to work this if you haven't ever done it before. If you look on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see all the Zoom controls that I've listed for you. Number 1 is mute or unmute your microphone. So we request that you all keep your microphones on mute, please, during most of the meeting, unless we have something to speak about. And we are definitely going to be asking for your input. And there's 2 ways that you can do that. So one is to actually voice your input. Also to let you know, we are recording this so that we can look at it later and write down all of your answers so we don't miss anything. So please be aware of that. And also, I think that the local access channel is also recording this as well. So please be aware. Start and stop video is for your video screen. So if for some reason you need to, go run to the bathroom or put your dog out or something, you can put yourself on stop video and start video so that you can put your image back up or down. Number 2 is to raise your hand. So if you do have something that you want to stop the process for a minute, or at the end of this process you would like to say something, you can hit raise your hand. So if you hover over that participant area, or I don't think that that's right. How did we do that before? We knew we'd come up with something here that was going to get a little bit weird. There is a raise hand feature. Well, maybe I don't have it because I'm the host and mine's gone. Anybody want to jump in and help me out? Because I forgot where that was. I knew this was.
Under participant, when you go to participant, at the bottom, there'll be three things. It says invite, mute me, and raise hand. So that's all you have to do is hit raise hand, and then Sheila can see that you have something you need to say.
Thank you so much, Sue. Mine was kind of missing. Does anybody want to try it out? See if they can raise your hand? You're more than welcome to try that. Oh, there you go. Great job, everybody. Thank you. Share content is not something that we need. These were all kind of on there. We're just going with 1, 2, and 3 today. So number 3 is the open chat panel. We really are requesting that you do this as well. If you're a little bit shy or you don't want to have to raise your hand and jump in, please use the open chat panel. We're also going to be downloading everything that was said in the chat. So if you have something that you really want to say or you want to have recorded, you can write that out in the chat area and let us know. And then if you're done and you think we're boring and you want to get out of here, you can click leave meeting. But we don't expect you to do that at all. So coming up next on here, let me see. We just want to thank you guys so much for your participation. We're hoping that this doesn't run longer than about 90 minutes. We should be done. We're hoping about 8:15, but if we get really excited, it might go a little bit longer than that. So the agenda tonight, just so you know where we're going to go, Anne's going to be hosting us. I'm going to turn this over to her momentarily right after this screen. We're going to talk about why you're here. We're going to talk about the master plan survey results, some benefits of having an open space and recreation plan, the open space and recreation plan public input process, and why you're kind of here. Environmental inventory analysis, scenic and unique environments, climate change adaptations and protections, community goals and objectives, and final statements. So we've got a lot to go over. I request that you please use those tools that we have with the raise hand and the chat feature. And we will have spots in between here for you to participate. So if you guys are ready for our first official Master Plan Forum online, we're really excited. I'm turning this over to Ann Hicks. She's fabulous. She's going to get us going. Thanks so much. You're muted. Ann, I think you're muted. There you go.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. This is really great how many people we have here. So terrific. We really want to hear everything that you have to say about our open space and recreation plan. So the open space and recreation plan, the first one we had was we put together in 2007, but that has expired now. So we're updating it now, and along with the rest of the master plan. So the open space plan is just one section of the larger master plan. And it is all overseen by the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. So they tell us what has to be in the plan. So that EEA, they call it for short, is under the governor. It's one of his departments. So one of the requirements is a survey of town residents. So this is a survey for all of the things that the larger master plan covers. So we sent that out and people returned it. And that was completed in late October. So an additional requirement, we are required to have several public forums. So this is the public forum for the open space and recreation plan. And so we want to hear your comments tonight on the plan and the future of North Brookfield. But tonight is not the only night that you can participate and let us know your thoughts. At the end of the program, my email will be up, and so anyone can email me things that you think of later on. So the open space, a lot of the things I'll do tonight it is following a workbook that the EEA has put out. But one of the big advantages to having an up-to-date master open space and recreation plan, and the master plan too, is it allows you to apply for grants, state grants. The two that are especially useful and can be quite a large sum of money are the park grants and the land grants. So the park grants are for developing parks, and the land grant is for preserving land. There's also land and water conservation funds, and these are all from the EEA Division of Conservation Services. They oversee all the grants. So could you go to the next slide, please, Sheila? So first we're going to go over the master plan survey results. So there were only 4 questions in the survey that had to do with open space and recreation. So we're just going to go over those 4, the results of those tonight, so that you can see what people in North Brookfield, those who responded, what their opinions are. So we're going to go through them one by one, and so please comment on each one as we go along. So the first question was, what do you like about living in North Brookfield? And you can see with the light blue there, rural country living was by far what most people ranked as number 1. So this question you could rank 1 to 5, with 5 being most important to you. So this is pretty much an outstanding response for rural country living being important to people. We had a total of 746 responses, and 571 of those responses were, those responders rated rural country living as the most important to them. The second, another question that got a high response was farm and agricultural access. And out of the 746, 174 people responded that was their highest ranked thing. So in this question, you were allowed to use the same ranking more than once. So that's why it adds up more than 746 responses. But you can see rural country living and agriculture were really high in most people's estimation of what they like about living here. Any comments about this? Questions or comments? Okay, let's go to the second one then. So the second, what are favorite activities that you would like to see encouraged in North Brookfield? So there were again 746 responses, and you can see the highest gained responses are walking, hiking, bicycling, team sports, bird watching, fishing, horseback riding, and hunting. But by far, if you combine walking and hiking, that's a huge percentage of people who enjoy those things in North Brookfield. Outdoor activities, exercising. Does anyone want to make any comments on this result? If not, we'll go to the next one.
And I have one question.
Okay.
On Sheila, can you go back to that last slide? Yeah, there we go. On the walking part, that brings me to the rail trail. And I'm just wondering if if you think that because of the rail trail, now being so functional, that there's more interest in walking, or do you think that it's just people just enjoy walking around North Brookfield? Because I seem to feel like people are a little more excited about getting outside and walking now that the rail trail has been completed. So I'm just curious if you think that maybe that might have been something that sort of brought that number up higher.
Well, there's really no way to know. Although, it's terrific to have a rail trail in North Brookfield. It augments the options that people have for that. And it's really nice because it's not on the road. I think what I have experienced, I live near Wendomet Meadow, and I've heard that a lot of people walk a circuit from downtown past Wendomet Meadow, kind of a big circle. I see a lot of people walking past Wendomet Meadow. So, back road hiking is pretty popular too. Really no way of knowing, but what we do know is people like to get out and walk and hike. So maybe the next one, if there aren't any more other comments. What would you most like to see be a part of town? Here I just gave the one, highlighted the one answer that had to do with open space, and that was new parks, picnic areas, walking trails, and recreation. 37% gave that as what they most like to see be a part of town. So that is still another big thumbs up for walking and park areas. Yeah. So any comments on this one? So let's go to the last one that has to do with open space. And should the town work to invest money or grants in acquiring land, town-owned land, for these various options? So you can see that wetland and forest conservation gained 21%, but not at all was at 19%. So that's pretty high. Parks at 18%, then water access 11%, farms and landscapes 10%, community gardens 7%, sports fields 7%. So I think, if you lump wetland, forest conservation and parks together, that's pretty interesting. But what I think is most interesting about this particular response is the 19% that said not at all, which seems not really congruous with the other responses where people were very excited about being outside and walking and hiking. So my suspicion is that people don't want to spend their tax money on it, which is completely understandable. So I just wanted to point out to everyone that Wendomet, I and some of the other people here, many of the other people here, worked to preserve Wendomet Meadow, which is on Bates Street in North Brookfield. It's owned by East Quabbin Land Trust, but many people in the town worked to preserve that area, along with townspeople, the select board and the Conservation Commission. And we did get a land grant from the state, one of those large sums of money that we are able to apply for with having an open space and recreation plan. However, we did it with no money coming from the town. There was no taxpayer money that went into preserving Wendomet Meadow. So that just shows that you can preserve land without having to rely on people dipping into their pockets and through paying taxes. So, I don't know why for sure 19% said not at all, but that could be part of the reason anyway. Are there any other comments about this?
And I would have probably said that people just feel like they have enough place to walk. They don't need more land for anything more that satisfies their needs.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. We do have a lot of recreation areas and open space in North Brookfield. The question is, how do we preserve that? How do we keep it this way? And I guess having control over certain pieces of land that are always going to be there, as in Wendemouth Meadow. I'm going to be using Wendemouth Meadow a lot as an example, but we know that Wendemouth Meadow, because it has a conservation restriction on it, will not be able to be developed at all in the future. It will remain open space in perpetuity. So that's just what we need to keep in mind for our most special places in town, that many of these places that we love are not permanently protected. So do we want to try to permanently protect some of them? That's a question for us to consider tonight. Okay, so
Can I jump in real quick too, Ann? I wanted to make a
yes,
mention on something. Is that we had wetland and forest conservation as well as parks seem to be pretty important to people in town. And I know like Danny Roman is here tonight too, regarding parks. And we've got a really beautiful town common that I know Danny's working pretty hard on getting some grants and some funds up there to work on a park as well. So just to make mention to everybody, it's open space and recreation too. So it includes the parks, the Lake Lashaway area. This forum really includes a lot of spaces. So just so that people are aware, it's not just, the town forest or, the rail trail. It encompasses the places that we like to have recreation as well. So just be aware of that when you're thinking about the different places that we want to make sure that we preserve or that we make more accommodating to people.
Very good point, Sheila. Since my experience is open space, so I tend to go for that. But yeah, recreation is very important. Harper, did you have a question?
No, I was just going to comment that I think one way to look at that 19% figure is kind of just to build on what you were saying, that it's probably just a question of education, that statement or the question, should we invest money or grants? If people assume that it's going to take, raising taxes or something like that, then they might then think, oh, well, no, I don't want to, don't have the money to spend on that. So it something like that seems like it's really a matter of education and public awareness, that there's ways to do this without raising taxes, one, and two, the other thing that you said, that in order to preserve the rural country quality that everybody likes about North Brookfield, some of the spaces do need to be preserved in perpetuity so that they don't get developed. So it seems like it's just a matter of, it's useful to have that figure so that there's an educational piece to it. That's all.
Very good, thank you. Are there any more comments?
Hey, guys, can I chime in?
Yes.
Hi, Joe Hallway. How you doing?
Great, thanks, Joe.
Hey, as we talk about more land and everything, I think we got to back up a little bit. I mean, you work extremely hard with your crew to get Wendemouth cleaned up and beautiful. John and his crew worked extremely hard for a couple of years getting the rail trail opened up, and it's not completed by any means. And I don't know if everybody's forgot, but, you know, we had Richie Paquette, and who, God bless, passed away, and his son and everybody in our committee down at the Town Forest Park, which even goes back further than that, you know, doing tons of work with our own tractors and stuff to get that all opened up. And the park too, even Danny with his crew, you know, trying to work hard on the town common. But we don't have any means right now of maintaining any of this. You know, I had a committee of 6 people, which were all hot and, you know, hot to go, and worked extremely hard the first 7 years, you know, for a couple of years, because it was exciting. But now, you know, for the last year and a half, myself and maybe one other would go down, mow the lawn, take care of the parking lot, and it's going to collapse unless, you know, I'm 63 years old. So we're trying to get new committee members, but I still don't think we have a base route on taking care of what we already own. I mean, in my opinion, we always should have had a Parks and Recreation Committee. Should have been, you know, planned out so that it's all under one umbrella. You know, the lawns get mowed at the town common, maybe even the school. The park trails get walked by a couple kids that have grants that allow them to have a pickup truck for 3 days a week to go down and check all this stuff and keep it clean. I mean, there's a lot of grants for that kind of stuff, but we all have all these own committees doing all these different things, which is wonderful. But the bottom line is, if I stop going down to the park tomorrow, you know, to try to keep I'm trying to get chips moved out of the parking lot, but I don't have a tractor anymore. And the highway is extremely busy and there's only a few guys and they do what they can. It just seems to me that we're getting ahead of ourselves as far as open space and walking. And it's nice to own the land, but who's going to maintain it? How are we going to deal with maintaining it? You know, I only have $1,000 at the park. I spend that just on mowing grass and spraying the weeds to keep that little bit of disc golf opened up. So, you know, thank God for the Lions Club. The Lions Club steps up and cleans the trail over to your place and helps me out. But I just want to remind people, as we expand into rail trails and things like that, I don't have equipment to take people out of there if somebody gets hurt. That's what I was talking, the selectmen's meeting was read the other night, and John called me tonight. You know, we need a snowmobile, you know, with something to pull behind it if somebody gets hurt. We just had that plane crash in Spencer. All of a sudden, there's 4 people got to come out of 2 miles out of the woods. You know, we don't have that kind of equipment. You know, it takes a lot of personnel to do it. So there's a lot to think about as we do these trails and open up these parks, but I think we really need to think about what we're going to do to budget to maintain them. How are we going to budget that? And are we going to do one committee that, you know, Parks and Recreation is one group? A lot of communities do a Parks and Recreation Committee, and then each entity gets taken care of financially and has, you know, maybe summer grants coming in for kids to come in and work 2-3 days a week to make sure these places are, trash is picked up, the lawns are mowed, the trails are open and safe. I don't know. That's just food for thought, but I worked in Parks and Recreation out of Rutland for many years, and that's just been my experience. I think all these trails, like if John didn't go down and mow and trim, and today he was snow blowing you know, the new park in the center of town, you know, maybe that all needs to be budgeted in so that that's in through DPW somehow, but they got the personnel to do it. You know, they don't have the personnel to do it. So there's a lot of things to think about with these trails and parks and stuff. And I just wanted to make that mention. Thank you.
Joe, that's really great. We're going to make mention of that. I think that we could definitely use that at the other end of the forum here tonight. We have a whole goals section, and maybe this could be one of the goals that we might want to consider adding in, or at least talking about. So I think that's fantastic. Thanks for letting us know.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have anything on this slide, or would we ready to move on, Ian?
If there's nothing else, I guess we're ready to move on.
All right, we're going to keep going. Thank you, guys. You're doing great participating. We appreciate you're all here.
Yeah. Good points, everyone. Thanks.
So we're at the additional comments section. If anybody wants to chime in, or we can just keep going. I think we can keep going. I think we're doing pretty good.
I never figured out how to hold up my hand on this thing, but
Okay.
but I just wanted to say that some types of lands that are set aside for perpetuity wouldn't require much maintenance. Some woodlands and things that let nature take its course, right? And I do, when we're focusing on 19% that weren't enthusiastic about purchasing or acquiring more land, that's versus not 81% that felt that some type of land would be valuable to maintain in perpetuity. And that 19%, I'm sure that they would not want to see, many of them would not want to see a decrease in what we already have, you know, because a lot of it may not be in perpetuity at this point. That's all I have.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's a good point. And also just a little bit of info about conservation restrictions. A conservation restriction is put onto a piece of land, can be put onto a piece of land by the owner. And there are state incentives, money incentives to do so. So a lot of land can be preserved and still be owned by the same person and maintained and managed by the same person. So if you put a conservation restriction on your land, basically you are giving away the right to develop it to a different organization such as a land trust, which will agree never to use that right to develop. But your land stays your own land and it is preserved in perpetuity. That is what a conservation restriction is. So that's another option other than town ownership, is just ownership remains with the present owner, and they just give away the development rights.
And I have Brandon Avery. He's got his hand up. Brandon, did you want to make a comment?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Sure thing.
Okay, my mic's not working real great, but so I put some comments in the chat so people can just look over them without having me to talk about them a lot. So just some of my own ideas there.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Brandon. Anyone else? Okay.
All right, you guys ready? Here we go. We're going to keep going.
Then.
You guys are doing great.
Okay. So this is why we're here. We want your we want your input. But with this little slide, I wanted to just define ecosystem services. So the workbook from the EEA talks about this using a different term, but I know it as ecosystem services. And so let's just go over what that means. Ecosystem services are defined as the flow of materials, energy, and information from the biosphere that support human existence. They include the regulation of the atmosphere and climate, the purification, retention of fresh water, the formation and enrichment of the soil, nutrient cycling, the detoxification and recirculation of waste, the pollination of crops, and the production of lumber, fodder, and biomass fuel. So this is the definition from the biologist E.O. Wilson. He is a great explainer and proponent of ecosystem services. So these are things that nature provides to human beings that give us life. They basically keep us alive. So so our job as human beings, in my opinion, is to preserve those ecosystem services. nature provides them to us for free. And if we preserve them, preserve the land in which they are carried out, then we continue to get these benefits for no cost. So next slide, please. Sheila will show the state workbooks explanation of this. They call it green infrastructure. Excuse me. And they say that it is as important to the economic future of a community as our schools, roads, water, wastewater infrastructure. So you can read 1 through 6 what the state workbook says is the green infrastructure. Basically the same thing. So anyway, that's what the state says we're supposed to be doing here. Part of what we're supposed to be doing. So, okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the ultimately what we are doing here with in the open space and recreation plan is to formulate goals and objectives. And from those, we'll figure out an action plan. So I just want to kind of define what those are because it's not really very clear in looking through the plan. But goals are very broad ideas about what we want to achieve. For example, retain North Brookfield's rural character. That was our #1 goal from 2007. But then the objectives underneath each goal are specific areas where action can be taken to achieve the goals. For example, protecting local farms. So I think what later on we'll go through our goals from 2007 and discuss whether we want to keep or change them. And we'll write down or record your ideas about all of these goals, and those will become the objectives. And then from that, we can formulate a 5-year action plan. But before we get to that, there are 2 other sections of the plan that I wanted to comment on. So let's do those first. And we'll get going on that on the next slide. Yeah, so section 4 is the scenic and unique resources. So it's an inventory of our community's natural and cultural resources. So this gets us starting to think about our goals and objectives. That will help protect the biodiversity, ecosystems, and ecological integrity of our community. So this is right, this quote here is right from the state's workbook. So what we did in the 2007 plan was we made a whole long list of scenic and unique places in North Brookfield, cultural, scenic, the places in North Brookfield that are important to us. So I think we shall go through all of those and decide whether we want to keep it, get rid of it, and add to it. There are definitely some things we'll want to add. So it's in 2 slides, and I think what we'll do is go let you all read through the first slide, and then we'll read through both slides. And as you're reading through it, think about whether this should stay, and also think about what is missing from this list. So Sheila, let us just start, and we'll give, like, I don't know, a minute for each one for people to read and think about them. Can everybody see it okay?
Yes.
Good.
Can I jump in and just make a point, please?
Yes.
I didn't know how to, am I supposed to push a button or, I raised my hand. Okay, so as the, I'm on the Historic Commission. I'm the chair of the Historic Commission, and one of the things that Marilyn Borst and myself are working on is to exactly this. It's we want to inventory these you know, I think there's like 5 categories. I've written down every single one. I think I may have gotten the resources from this report, but there was also a reconnaissance report that was done in North Brookfield. I forget what year it was though, 2013, I mean, what was it? Maybe 2013 or so. But it lists exactly this. So I'm actually working with, hoping to reach out to the high school students and see if like a history students would want to help us tackle this project. To inventory the yes, and send it to the Massachusetts Historical Commission.
That's great. Well, if you share that with us, then we can add it to this list.
Sure.
Sharon, at the end of this is going to be Ann Hicks' email address, and this is for everybody. If you think of something even after the fact, because we have actually 2 pages here of scenic and unique environments. If you have anything you think that should be added, or if you see something on here that maybe we should take off because maybe it doesn't exist anymore, or maybe it's just not, you don't think it's that significant, let us know. Ian's email is going to be at the end of here. So we would really like your input. If you forget what this is, a couple ways you can remember. If you have your phone on you, you can take a picture of the screen. You can also go to the North Brookfield Master Plan from 2007. It's currently up on the North Brookfield Town site, and you can go find this page in there. It's in the open space area. And you can look through all of them in there too. That's exactly where we got this information. You can see at the bottom, we have scenic and unique environments of North Brookfield. This is the chart from the 2007 master plan. So it is up online for you to go look at if you kind of forget. If you are savvy enough to take a screenshot on your computer, you're welcome to do that too while we're hanging out here. And I'm gonna get, Kim, I'm gonna get to you in 1 second. So we have one more page of this for you guys to kind of peek at, and we would love to hear your input, whether it's through the chat or vocally, or if you can email Ann after the fact.
One of our committee members just said it's page 64.
Perfect. In the open space part, remember that it's a really big plan. So you want to go in that open space part particularly. Kim, you had your hand up. If you wanted to chime in, you're welcome to.
I just have a question. Is there a map of like where all this stuff is? Like there's things on here, I don't know where they are. So I'm just curious if there's, you know, like the smallpox caves. I have no idea where those are.
Well, I can tell you, I've been to them and they are a mystery and fun to find.
Okay.
I didn't know that they existed either. And I don't want to tell you the secret way to get there because you have to discover them on your own too. But technically, if you kind of walk right behind the First Baptist Church there over on, what is that, 67, you'll hit them. There's no sign or anything like that.
Okay.
You just kind of happen upon them and you realize that's what they are. So there are some pretty cool things on here. You're absolutely right. Maybe we need to make a scavenger hunt.
Yeah, it would be great to have a map of all this stuff. To see what we're talking about. Oh, does Ann have one?
She looks like
there are some maps on the open space plan that have marked some of these sites, not all of them. So yeah, we will definitely be mapping the most important ones.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure. Maybe we could go to the next page.
Ian, I think we've got Brandon Avery's hand up too. Brandon, do you need me to stay on this page or can I move forward one?
I just wanted to make a comment quickly, if you can hear me okay.
Yes,
Yep.
I can.
Just, yeah, be aware that some of these are on private property, so please respect private property owners' rights and don't just go wandering around their property without permission, okay?
Yeah,
We don't want any, we want we want these areas to, remain as they are, but, they also, if they're on somebody's property, have to respect people's property rights too.
Great comment.
That's
Bruce.
all.
that's an excellent point, and that's one of the reticences I have about this list and other things in the plan, is that it does talk about land that we want to preserve that we don't own. It's what the state wants us to do, but it seems a little presumptuous. But it is helpful to know. It defines our culture in a way, the culture of our town. So it's not necessarily something that we want to have control over, but just we're just defining, making a list of the things that are important to us. So, but Brandon is absolutely right. Don't go walking around on people's land without permission.
I think maybe, Anne, that's something, I'm just gonna put this in the comments so we remember to think about this later when we're, because we're recording this. Maybe we should add a column to this in the master plan where it says public or private, so that at least, if people do go on here, they'll know whether or not it's something that they should be treading on sacred ground on, so.
That's a great idea.
I think Eva has her hand up physically.
Yeah, I was just wondering about, is this the complete list of unique environments, scenic and unique environments that you have?
No, we have one more page.
You have one more page, because I know there's a sign here on Barnes Road on the Mandala property about General Rufus Putnam. And I didn't see that on the first page. So yeah, it
Well,
may be on the second.
I think everybody's seen this first page. I'm gonna go to the second page. If we need to come back to it, we can, guys. So just let me know, okay? Here's page 2. Let me see if that one's on there. And if not, Eva, if you have the ability to put that in the comments, that would be really helpful to us. Just
Okay.
type that in so we know to record something like that.
Okay, great. I don't see it. Do you?
I think that's Karina. I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you for adding that in. That's really great.
Yeah, I don't think it's here.
Yeah, if you can add that in the chat, Eva,
No,
that'd be
this
great.
Now, the list is not complete. I mean, this is a list we got from our last master plan 13 years ago. So this is just what people came up with then. So we're trying to add to it at this point too.
Marilyn?
Yes, I just wanted to say that Brooks Pond is also private, but it is open to the public if people respect the rules that are posted at the parking lot.
Okay. Thank you.
But once again, it's just the pond. It's not the land around the pond. That's
Okay.
all very private.
I don't know if Brooks Pond is on the list, but that is certainly a wonderful place in town. Should be there. Oh,
I
yeah.
see
there
it.
it
It's
is.
number 20.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good.
I think possibly you should take off surrounding area. The only area that is really walkable and not on private, well, it's area that is owned by the Brooks Pond Conservation Association and Brooks Pond Water is the other side of the pond. There is some land there where the river goes across over the dam and then down. But the area around Brooks Pond, and in fact, the bottom of Brooks Pond, and the water in Brooks Pond is privately owned. So, be sure that people, it's not really open space. It's watershed, and it can be used for, for boating and swimming. So I don't know where open space comes in there. It's part of the open space plan because it's available to the public, but not the space around the pond.
Right. Well, I think that's a good suggestion. We can remove that.
Just that wording, because Brooks Pond is available as water, a water resource for people to have water recreation.
Very good. Okay. Yeah, thanks everyone for your comments in the chat and verbally.
Are you ready to move on, Ann?
Yeah, if we're done with this, let's move on.
All right. Again, guys, if you do think of anything, please make sure you email Ann. Her email is going to be at the end of this presentation, which we're gearing up. So we're doing great. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, moving right along. Okay. Well, this was just the section where the slide where we wanted to hear from you, but we have heard from you, so maybe we could go on to the next one. Okay, this is just something that I wanted you to know about. Last spring with CMRPC, we had meetings with town boards and residents where we outlined areas of vulnerability to natural disaster or weather events, and started thinking about ideas to respond to natural disasters. And so we did come up with a municipal vulnerability preparedness plan. MVP is much easier to say. So I wanted you all to know about it. If you'd like to look it over, you can get a copy from the select board. I thought it was a very good process, and we may be taking some ideas from that plan to include in the open space plan, which is what the state wants us to do. They want us to use all available public documents to come up with the best open space plan and recreation plan that we can. So we can go on to the next slide, please. Okay, so this is suggestion from the state. The goals should describe an ideal open space and recreation system that would meet the variety of needs that were expressed during the public participation process. And the word that I kind of take out of this is ideal. And it's a way of thinking about what we want, pie in the sky kind of ideas. Fantastic, this would make North Brookfield the greatest place ever kind of ideas. And the little quote on the left-hand side is kind of the reason why it's good to think in that way. And it's from Jeff Goebel, who has a company that helps people solve problems. But this is what he says. The human brain is a powerful problem-solving tool. It is primed to solve problems and so perceives situations from a problem-solution standpoint. This creates a tendency to define goals according to problems to be solved, an orientation that limits our ability to visualize what we want. So we're working with the way that we think can keep us sort of more grounded and thinking about problems rather than thinking about what we want. Whether we think it's achievable or not shouldn't really enter into the thinking just yet. Let's think about what we really want for North Brookfield. What would make North Brookfield really great? So what we're going to do is go through the 4 goals from the 2007 plan and think whether we want to keep them, and if so, how should they be updated to reflect our needs now and in the future. And if maybe you want to throw them out and substitute a new one. I think we can have more than 4 goals if we want, but let's just go through the ones that we have and see where that leads us as a starting point. Sound okay? So why don't we go to goal number 1 on the next slide. Goal number 1 was maintain North Brookfield's rural character. So interestingly, the survey that we did in 2006 or 2007 had the same amazing result, that one of the things that people like most about North Brookfield is its rural character. So it was our goal number 1 from 2007. So what do you all think? Is this a good goal for us? I see some thumbs up. Okay. I see a lot of thumbs up. Okay.
We got some yeses on the chat there too, Ian, so that's good.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So why and how? Why and how are we going to do this? Maybe a few of the objectives from 2007 will help us to think more about the details of this goal. One of the objectives was to minimize development impacts by implementing appropriate zoning controls and strategies. Also, preserve the scenic resources for future generations by facilitating the placement of conservation easements and purchasing land outright. Ensure the future prosperity of local farms, and encourage appropriate development, siting, design, and landscaping to further enhance the existing character of North Brookfield. So with your help, we're going to develop these objectives. So can anybody elaborate? Are some of these things that I mentioned worth doing? How are we going to maintain North Brookfield's rural character?
Can I pop on there? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Herbert, I think you had your hand up.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I can't see everyone.
I was just going to say, it sounded to me like, I mean, I didn't see the list, but the objectives that you listed sounded like they covered a good range of how to achieve that, you know, in terms of zoning, in terms of helping farms, you know, continue to be successful, because that's the basis of a rural landscape in a rural area is successful farms, and helping also farms be able to preserve their land through easements. And then I forget what the 4th one was. So zoning, landscaping, I think, design and landscaping. But that seemed like it covers the bases. I'm not sure if I can think of anything else, but maybe Sheila was going to pop in with that.
I think actually Bob just popped in down the bottom on the chat with the exact thing I was going to talk about as well. That maybe one of the objectives that we need to create is the part that has to do with maintenance. Joe Holloway mentioned earlier that we really need to find a way to actually maintain these properties, and zoning and stuff is great, but we need humans to keep up with, thinning forests, or maybe maintaining the walkways and the rail trail, maintaining walkways in Wendermouth Meadow, items like that. So maybe we need some type of an objective when we're working on this later, Ian, to actually create an objective for maintenance.
That sounds great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another objective.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Harper. I just saw someone's hand up. You go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I'm jumping in. I'm not sure how to articulate this, but maybe there needs to be a survey of farmers in North Brookfield. I mean, this is privately owned land, businesses, farms. Maybe we need an inventory of farmers to see, okay, where are you? You know, how are things going? What do you need? And then, so that's kind of a different angle. There's the public open space land and needing to maintain that. And then there's how to support as a community the family-owned farms, which everybody loves to have in the area, but maybe they need support to continue or something. So I'm not exactly sure how that works, but some survey, or getting in touch with people so they know the town wants this. How can we help you? That's kind of a rambly thing, but anyway, I'm just throwing it out there.
So I think one of the outcomes from after 2007 was we started a farm council. I'm not sure that's the right term, but does anyone know anything about that? Whether it's still going on, still successful, a farm council, or whether maybe that fell by the wayside.
Well, there's an agricultural commission.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, Brandon. That's,
there you go.
How is the Ag Commission doing?
I'm not sure. I went to one meeting a couple years ago on I even forget the exact topic, but there was quite a group there. Yeah, I'm not sure how they are today, but there was quite a group.
That's great. Well, maybe we can.
Might be something to look into it and see how they're doing.
So if I may, the Ag Committee in town only meets if there's an emergency between neighbors in the neighborhood or livestock getting out and that sort of activity. So there is no planning done by that committee, and it really needs more members and more leadership to be more active.
Thank you.
And I've got Ethan, he's got his hand up. I think he's got a comment. If you want to unmute yourself, Ethan, we'd love to hear from you.
Sure. Hi, guys. I guess I had one question. I don't disagree with this goal whatsoever. I just sort of wondered if it's worth sort of thinking about whether it's through a survey, whether it's just through you guys and what you're doing moving forward, but sort of maybe defining a little what rural character, means. Like, does that mean, is it an aesthetic thing? Is it a business limitation thing? Is it a population thing? Sort of where does that go? What does that mean? Because I feel like a lot of people might have different ideas about what rural might mean. Maybe it's all about farms. Maybe it's all about keeping it small. Maybe it's all about not having corporate business. I don't know. You know what I mean? So that was just my thought on that point.
Yeah, that's a good thought, because something as broad as that can mean a lot of different things in a lot of different people's minds.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess one of my thoughts is I wouldn't want to necessarily, discourage development if it's beneficial to the town. At the same time, that development maybe needs some there need to be guidelines or some sort of definitions. So it's definitely like a complicated issue, I think.
Yeah. Zoning controls and strategies.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
I want to make mention, so I've got John Tripp. He's texting me on my phone. So we'll find out one way or another to get some communication in here. So we've got all of our ideas down. John mentioned that Citizens for Sensible Solar saved over 50 acres of forest about 2 years ago. So that is something that's pretty interesting. And he said the planning board, along with this select board, has changed bylaws to limit large solar projects. So maybe somehow we incorporate that. I think I'm just interjecting this so that, again, we have this later on when we're looking this over for setting our goals and objectives that, like you said already, bylaw changes have can make some effects on how we keep the rural character of North Brookfield. And it looks like one of the bylaw changes that we had limits large solar projects, which that hopefully saves some land and some trees and stuff. Again, we saved at least 50 acres of forest, he says, 2 years ago. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll just throw out another option is a wetlands bylaw. A wetlands bylaw protects from development 100 feet around every wetland. Right now, with the Wetlands Protection Act, the Conservation Commission reviews any development within 100 feet to make sure that it will not impact the wetland negatively. However, developments can still proceed. But if a town decides to have a wetlands bylaw, that land becomes a protected resource and cannot be developed. It's very controversial, and I don't think very many towns in our area have it. But many of the larger towns to our east do. Just throw that out as another way to prevent development, or lessen it anyway.
So Ian, we've got Tara Hayes. She's got her hand up. Tara, you want to unmute yourself and let us know what you're thinking?
I was just going to say there's a lot of little farmers, micro farms, I guess we could call them, in town that aren't recognized by the town. I'm not even talking about myself. Anyone that knows me knows I have my chickens and my goats, but there's other people, there's breeders, and I think we need to recognize those farms too.
Thank you, Tara. You're right.
Good point. Marilyn.
Is there some kind of listing of farms so that we can go buy eggs if they are available from someone? Or I know of a couple of a farm that sells meat and eggs, and I've been there, but a list of farmers that maybe have something that they would like to sell us would be great, so that we know that they're there and we can use their farm products.
Yeah, the library had their May festival with a lot of local farms coming and selling their produce, and a way to get to know small farmers in town. So we weren't able to do it last May, but hopefully, well, we'll see. Hopefully, as soon again, we can do that. Okay, there's a lot of chats coming in.
Yeah, we're working through them.
Great.
I don't think that they're relevant for the conversation we're having just yet. unless you guys feel it is, jump in, but we're just kind of chit chatting back and forth kind of about things that are happening. And again, we're going to be downloading the chat so we can kind of look at that and incorporate any of those, the information you guys put in that chat into our goals, objectives, and the master plan for 2021. So we appreciate all your feedback. And are we ready to move on to goal number 2 or?
I see that Dave Brown has his hand up.
Oh, I didn't see that. Sorry.
Okay, I just, a couple comments. One, I can't remember the name of the program that Eve and I are working with, but there is an opportunity for people who own forest lands to get involved with trying to make that land more suitable for preserving primarily bird life. And so people could be more aware that if you have habitat that would be conducive to certain species of birds that might be able to get involved in a program like that. The other thought I had is that we have a number of people like Tara who have a real resource for the town that maybe there could be like a little marketplace on the town website or something, could have a listing of people who have products like that, so that if people were looking for fresh eggs or goat meat or whatever, that they might have a resource right there in town that they could turn to and find it at their town website. That's enough. How do I end?
I think that's a great idea, Dave. Thank you.
Oh, Tara's got her hand back up again.
Yeah, Dave, great idea. I'm actually working on trying to get businesses that we have in town listed on our town website, you know, getting them updated with the business certificates. Maybe we can add little micro farms to that also. I don't know. I can look into it though.
Thank you, Tara. That's awesome.
All right, anything more to say? Reminder, if you come up with other ideas, please do send them to me at my email, which you'll find out at the end. I guess that's incentive to keep with it here.
Stay here. We're almost there, guys, actually.
Yeah,
I know at the bottom, it says 20 of 33 slides, but I'm pretty sure we don't have 33 slides. That's so it'll be before then. So isn't that exciting? You never know when it's going to end. All right, you ready to go in?
Yeah, why don't we go to goal number 2?
Okay, goal number 2.
Preserve and enhance North Brookfield's water resources. Yeah, when I saw this, I kind of wondered why water, because we have so many other resources too. But let's throw it out to you all. Why water?
All right, I'm going to start. I absolutely love kayaking, and one of my favorite places to go is Brooks Pond. And I never realized that I was kayaking right past Marilyn's place all the time, but I have to say it's one of the recreational activities that I really love, and it's one of the most beautiful spots to be able to enjoy that. So I would say one of the reasons why preserving and enhancing North Brookfield's water resources just for me, recreation.
I'd like to offer something.
Mm-hmm.
I moved here 6 years ago. One of the deciding features was town water. I don't know, but that I've heard a lot since I came here from, you know, long-term town residents about wells versus reservoirs. I'd just like to put it out there. I know you're talking about kayaking, and you know, water and natural resources like ponds and so on are very important. But from my perspective, the greatest water resource the town has is its reservoir and its ability to offer fresh, potable water to the residents. And over time, of course, there'd be more people moving into town who'll be looking for things like that. to make a decision to stay or not, or settle, I guess. And I'm not sure that that's what you all wanted to talk about or hear, but I thought I'd throw it in the mix. Thank you.
Yeah, very important.
Very important.
Yeah, and I'd like to just build on what Jack just said, which is just in terms of the green infrastructure and ecosystem services, which I love. I just think that's a fabulous way of thinking about, the environment and how it serves us. That the whole water networking, not just the particular ponds and the reservoir, but in addition, the streams and the wetlands, all of that helps sustain the health of the rural environment. And so it seems like it's a great way to think about, the ecosystem and all the different parts, land and water, and how they interact. So I think that's a good one to keep also.
If you can hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I'd just like to say that the Brooks Pond Conservation Association spends thousands of dollars, each one of the homeowners, every year in order to keep Brooks Pond weed-free and clean. And we are constantly monitoring the water too for phosphorus, anything that might grow algae and things like that, because we really want to take care of that water, which is part of the 5 Mile River system. So it's important to us to know what's coming into the pond, and then of course what goes over our dam and leaves the pond. So if people are using the pond, it's very important to us too that they don't throw away their cans by putting them in the water and letting them sink. That they kind of monitor how clean their boats and kayaks are, so they're not bringing in things to the water. So just know that even though Brooks Pond is private and we are taking care of it, it is open to people who are following the rules, and we do take care of that water.
Great. Well, you just you went through all of the objectives from 2007, just in these few little comments here.
And can I stop you for 1 second and just say, I've got Pete Dupel. He's got his hand raised. Pete, you want to unmute yourself, please? Oh, where'd he go? Oh,
yeah,
there you
there
are,
we go.
Pete.
Thank you. Sorry, I've been kind of quiet, but I wanted to weigh in on this water goal a little bit. When we think about conservation and enjoyment of water, let's not forget that 60% of the human body is comprised of water. And let's not lose sight of that. I mean, if you go to Mexico, Congo, Pakistan, Bhutan, and look at their water supplies and how we really take for granted our water supplies here, we can talk about conservation and enjoyment of land, but conservation of water is critical. And when I saw this goal, I almost saw this as number 1 versus number 2. And when it comes to humans and our ability to survive, and I know that sounds a little bit sort of alarmist, but water is going to be a critical component of our infrastructure, and it needs to preserve at all costs. So those are my 2 cents, and I'll just stop there.
Hello, hey Sheila.
Yeah.
Just to elaborate on what that gentleman said, we had this conversation back when, we did the CMIPC with Ashley and Ann, and he's absolutely right. We have some vulnerabilities in town. One, we don't have a well system that I'm aware of to support water for the town of North Brookfield other than Horse Pond Reservoir. And Horse Pond Reservoir is actually pretty vulnerable in regards to something as simple as a rollover oil truck with 10,000 gallons of oil down on Rufus Putnam Road. It would spill right in about 60, 70 feet right into our water supply. And Now, I've been with the Fire Academy 30 years. I've seen all those things happen, the hazmat teams. So we have the opportunity for those kind of things to happen. And I think it's something that what he said is very real. If we were to spill 10,000 gallons of oil into that water, we would be in trouble. Now, I know we can tie into East Brookfield to a degree, but it's something to think about. And I know Ann's mentioned it, but water is precious here in town because that is our supply. Used to be Doan's Pond, and it went through a sand filter. And back in 38, that whole thing let go. And, you know, God forbid, Doc Grace's assistant died in that hurricane as a result of that dam letting go. And all our water comes from Horse Pond, and Richie and the guys up there do a wonderful job keeping that protected. But that's a pretty vulnerable area. If you go down Rufus Putnam Road, everybody knows what I'm talking about. Just before you go up to Mandela's Hill or Green Hill, there's a corner there. And as simple as it might be, it could be 10,000 gallons of fuel oil that dumps into our reservoir. So, you know, as a fire chief, I'm just telling you, it's happened, it can happen, and hope it never happens. But maybe that's something we plan out. You know, how do we mitigate that? Maybe do we limit what kind of trucks can go up that road? Do we limit, or do we put any type of a system up that would mitigate some of that spill if something was to happen? But hopefully it never happens. But I have to agree with him. We put all our eggs in one basket, and that's Horse Pond Dam. And if that was to fail, then we, you know, our other supplies would be coming from other communities that we're tied into. Hopefully they could supply us. So I just wanted to elaborate on that. And I know that was brought up with CMRPC back in the day, and they asked me what my thoughts were, and I'm trying to think worst case scenarios, and that's one of our worst case scenarios.
I've got Pete. He's got his hand up again. Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, no, thank you, Joe. And one other thing I'd like to add, we are in a unique position. We own our water. Okay. Boston doesn't own their water. Holden and Princeton own their water. We own and control our water. So when you think about things that we can focus on and we can make sure that we preserve, it's very unique that we can actually have our own water supply and support that water supply. And I think that's just a great position to be in. So for us to think about how we sort of think about conservation, or we think about our master plan, again, I'll go back to water should be one of our top priorities, without a doubt.
So I'm just going to jump in there too, Ann, and say we are called the Brookfield. So maybe that's kind of important that we have water as one of our most important things on there. I mean, without water, we wouldn't be a Brookfield. We would just be Northfield. So that makes a big difference.
Yeah, well, something else to think about is, do we want to, you know, maybe set ourselves up financially to do subwells, you know, as a secondary backup, because, you know, it wouldn't take much to contaminate that piece of property, believe it or not, and then all of a sudden we're scrambling. So maybe down in the road, you got to think down the future for the future generation. Do we have wells that are available to pump into the town if we needed it? You know, it's just food for thought.
That's fantastic, Joe. Thank you. We need stuff like that. That's really great. I would never even have thought of that.
I can't.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Dave.
One other aspect of the water, I'd like to just mention how important the wetlands are in terms of wildlife diversity. And I remember when I was at Tufts, we had a speaker who was in charge of maintaining the roads in it was Indian territory in Maine, their reservations, and they have many beaver on those reservations, and he was demonstrating how they are able to prevent the blockage of these water pipes underneath the roads. Very simple trick that he used to do that. And I noticed that sometimes down here we have problems with the flooding and stuff like that when the beavers will make a dam and prevent the flow of the culverts, that block the culverts. Well, he was able to prevent that problem very simply using a means of having these big stakes in the water and a fencing around it that essentially kept the culverts clear of all this debris. and yet that maintained the habitat for the beavers. And I know that if we looked at historically how much impact it had when the beaver hunters came into North America and killed off a lot of the beaver, how much wildlife habitat was lost in that process. Not only it wasn't just the habitat, it changed the environment, because we were in Utah looking at some very dry, desolate areas, and these areas used to be abundant with wildlife and more of a wetland habitat, and not that many years ago. And so we had to think about what aspects of our nature we need to preserve to keep this wetland habitat adequate, at least adequate, and more abundant than it is now, without having the problems that we typically have with block culverts and things like that.
I'm a real beaver fan, and beavers do more than providing wildlife habitat. They actually help with the small water cycle. The principle is that whatever rain falls on your land should stay on your land for as long as possible. And that encourages soil to be fertile and hold the water, which makes plants grow better, and the plants respirate into the air and cool the climate. It's a whole big cycle that happens surrounding water, and beavers are part of that, in that they keep the water from going downstream. That's also a big principle of the Wetlands Protection Act. Keep the water in your town as long as possible, so that it does its work for you. So it provides its service for wildlife and people. So yeah, water's looking like really important.
I think so too. Just as a heads up, it's 8 o'clock. So we've got 2 more goals, and that's pretty much the end of our stuff, just about, when we get through these next 2 goals. So I'm hoping that we can get them 10 minutes each, and that'll take us to just about the time we planned on ending, so we don't take up too much of your time tonight, guys. If you do have any more comments about goal number 2, if you could put it in the comments for us, or again, write it down or think about it so we can email Ann at the end of this. We are using all this information, and it's really important. So Ann, if it's okay with you, I'm going to move on to goal number 3 so we can hopefully end on time tonight. And everybody's been doing great. Awesome feedback.
Sheila, maybe one suggestion is if people have to leave now, why don't you put up just briefly the last slide that shows my email address, in case.
Well, Ian, you want to give it to me right now? I'll put it in the comments, and then everybody will have it.
Okay. It
Go ahead.
is FABHICKS@AOL.com. So thanks everyone, and just lay it on me. I'll write it down and we'll put it into the plan.
Hey
There you
guys,
go,
it's
guys.
Fire Chief. I gotta sign off, but I just want to say thank you. You all do a wonderful job. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, we'll talk to you later, guys. Thank you.
All right, goal number 3.
Okay, I'm muted because my phone is ringing. All right, goal number 3, enhance the community's knowledge about open space in North Brookfield. So let me just read you a few of the objectives. Create an informational packet, including a map about North Brookfield's open spaces to introduce new residents and visitors to the town's resources. Compile a collection of educational materials to be made available to teachers at various levels that they can incorporate into their curriculum. A website or a page on the town website dedicated to open space in North Brookfield, and explore opportunities for ecotourism in North Brookfield. Those are just some starting thoughts, but Are those good ideas?
I think that those are awesome, actually. I'm hoping, Ian, that we can keep a lot of them in there and that we're gonna be able to check mark a lot of them off over the next year or two. A lot of the downtown development people who are on here know we've been working pretty hard on some rail trail connecting trails, maps of different areas around in North Brookfield. So hopefully that will check mark off a lot of those goals and objectives. So that action plan will turn into a check mark, we're hoping. So definitely please keep them on so we can check mark some of them off here in the near future, we're hoping. And if anybody wants to join the North Brookfield Downtown Development Committee, Friends of the Townhouse, or any committees, please call all of us. We would love to have your help while we're talking about it. But yes, I think that those are fantastic. And I know that we're really working hard to try to get a lot of those goals accomplished, or objectives, I should say.
Great. Other comments, Harbor?
I was just going to say, building on the discussion about goal number 2 and the water resources and how important they are, to maybe include in enhancing the community's knowledge about water and open space, or just so long as water resources and infrastructure is included maybe in the open space element. Because I just, from my side, I tend to think of open space more in terms of land, but of course it's water and wetlands as well. But anyway, that's just a small comment, but.
Great.
And can I toss on there too, that I think one of the objectives we should have is that we should start with the youth in our community. And really we should have an objective on there that the school is either, taking kids on local field trips to these open space places, or having them go into these fields and discover the different types of flora and fauna we have out there, or bugs we've got in fields. And we've got so much that we could just be doing that directly with the children in our town. I think that should be a great objective to throw on there.
Great. Any other ideas? So I guess so far we're pretty much following what we laid out in 2007. A few updates, definitely more thoughts about water. It seems like we do want to keep this this goal number 3 roughly the same. Any other ideas? Any other comments about this goal? Anyone who doesn't want to keep it?
Yeah. Oops. Just one thought was, if we have some special open spaces, for example, of woodlands, we talk about trails for hiking, but we could also have some shorter loops where we focus on education. And if you had some particular habitat that there's some special thing, where you could have little, like little markers that may have a little information about the ecology of the land or other aspects. I know I'm hoping to eventually do that for our property, to have a loop like that. But I think, like, for example, if someone had kids had an opportunity to actually see beavers working in a pond or something, if there was a place that happened frequently, that they might have a good chance of seeing it. If you had that, eventually we could develop multiple places like that throughout town where people could go and, like, for example, at Windemith, where you could go see the bobolinks, and have a little bit of blurb about what you could see in that area. And then that might be people would go to the website at the town and say, oh, I'd like to go see that, or if there is some special things for this community, this area that people would like to see or and learn from, make it more of an educational program. program for our young kids to see some of these things.
That's great. I remember from 2007 a strong desire for economic development as well as recreation and open space was the idea of ecotourism, that we could bring people into town to see our wonderful natural areas and recreation areas. And then they'd buy pizza for lunch, and support our businesses. So that's something to think about as well. I don't know whether we've succeeded very well in that.
Perhaps in a way we could get Audubon and Windermere interested all in doing some tours for us as well.
Partner with other organizations, yeah.
Yes.
And I've got Kim's hand up too. Kim, are you there? You want to comment?
I just have a question. The town forest, I've walked it. I love taking my dogs there, but like I just kind of go between the trees and I don't stay on the path. I really wish we had a map for the town forest. Because I understand, I asked Mr. Chief Holloway if we could take horses there, and he's like, of course, stay on the blue trail. But without a map, I don't know what the blue trail is.
Kim, I'm pretty sure.
I would really love to have a map for there, like on our town site where like you can just download it, print it out. Because I love going there, but I have no idea where I am, what I'm doing. And I'm hoping I stay on public property. But now that somebody said, you got to be careful, I never even dawned on me that I could actually be like walking in somebody's private back fields.
The trails.
So
are
a
fairly,
map would be wonderful for the town forest.
The trails are fairly clearly marked, Kim. Did you not see them?
I've been following them, but with the dogs, we kind of like venture around. But I just want to, I wish we had a map. I just wish we had a map. So I make sure I am where I'm supposed to be.
Okay. All right.
So Kim, I think, I don't think I'm on mute. I can't see myself anymore.
No, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Harbor's commenting down in the comments that there is a trail map for the town forest and for Wendermouth. She says it's on EQLT, which maybe Harbor, can you jump in on here and chime in for a second?
That EQLT is the East Quabbin Land Trust, and they're the land trust that partnered with North Brookfield and owns the Windermere Meadow property on Bates Street. And we're members, as is Ann. Ann's on the board, the land board with the EQLT. They just sent out, we just got in the mail today, a map, a little brochure of trails in North Brookfield, and it included trails because Windermere Meadow and the town forest are contiguous to each other. They did a map of trails for both. And
oh, wonderful.
Just created, and it was also partly funded by a grant from the North Brookfield Cultural Council. So, Anne, do you know whether that's something that's going to be distributed at the library, or is it on the website, the EQLT website? I just found it today in the mail, so I don't really know much more, but it's definitely what you're asking for, Kim.
So it's not on the town website, it's on your website.
Well, I don't even know if it's on that website. I just received it in the mail today. So,
okay.
Anne, do you know anything more about that map?
No, I don't. I'm sorry to say, but I'm sure that you can get one. Just go to eqlt.org and see what's there. And I'm sure there's an email address you can just email for a hard copy. I'm sure they'll send
okay. Okay, yeah. See, I was going through the town website and it's not on there. So I need to go through
Well, I think it was just
Sheila, can you
created.
post what she's saying
Yes.
for me in the comments so I can take a screenshot?
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
They did.
thank
It's down
you.
there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Tim, I
Thank
think
you guys. I appreciate it. I love going
Got
over
it.
there, but I just want to make sure I'm in the right spots.
I think that this was the project that was just completed, so it probably hasn't gone very far yet. But if it was supported by the Cultural Council, then it would be something that would be, available for the town. That was one of the purposes of the project, I believe. So I just don't know how it will be distributed. But I'll pop over to the website now and see if I can find it.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. You guys are great. I'm loving this.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, thanks, Harper. I haven't seen mine yet.
Okay. Just happened to
So
get it, I guess.
I've got Pete's hand up, and then I'm hoping that we can move on to the last question because I do want to try to keep us on track so we're not staying too late. If you do have more comments, just toss them down in the comment section for me, please. And go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I love the word enhance because I go back to sort of what I thought I saw on the original survey data that said 19% say don't spend any more money. That indicates to me about 81% appreciate sort of our open space, if you will. And I think that's a good stat. And when I think about our open space and getting a return on investment in that open space and thinking about limited resources and where we can really have that bang for our buck, it's about marketing, it's about impact, it's about sort of, communities and being involved. And where do we dedicate those resources in looking at that open space that's going to give us our best ROI? Where do we spend the money? And it might be Windemith, right? I don't know if it's the rail trail. I don't know what the utilization likes. I can tell you I've been on it and I see a lot of people. I can tell you that other open space, maybe, not as much of an impact. So what are those open spaces? Where can we sort of allocate those resources? Where can we enhance the knowledge? Where can we enhance the education and get people to continue to appreciate? Because with 80-20, I'm not sure we have a problem. I think people are here for a reason, right? They're looking at the rural environment. They're looking at sort of what it is we offer, and they're coming here for a reason. And the fact the survey seems to indicate that, I think enhancement is great, but I would rather see enhancement versus switch or change or, turn the tide. I think we've got good momentum. It's about making it a little bit more precise.
Terrific.
I've got one more person in with their hand up. Maris, I hope I'm saying that right. Can you unmute yourself, Maris?
Thank you. I just did. I want to add about that 19%. I feel that I really do believe that there's probably a percentage that really just doesn't understand that there are ways to get these additional lands without using taxpayer funding. I believe that if people didn't like to live in an area or appreciate the area that we have here, they probably would have moved away because we do have a very special town. And I really think that everyone appreciates that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. I just wanted to add my 2 cents. I really do think it's probably motivated by economics.
Great, thank you. Okay, shall we move on to goal 4?
We shall. Here we go. You guys are doing fantastic. So to be honest, I think this is our last goal, and then we just kind of summarize things up. So just to give you a heads up, you don't have to feel like you're going to be on too long, although it sounds like everybody's really enjoying this. So that's great.
Okay, goal number 4 from 2007. Provide North Brookfield with varied and well-maintained recreational opportunities and facilities. So that's pretty broad, but the objectives that we had were to maintain existing facilities with improvements where necessary, construct new facilities as needed, expand opportunities for passive outdoor recreation like hiking, fishing, canoeing, and existing or planned facilities and opportunities should accommodate all age groups and user groups within the community.
And part of this was already discussed. I forget who the gentleman was who was going on about parks and recreation and the need, maybe it was Joe, who was talking about the need to develop and maintain what we already have, and was expressing concern about creating, well, probably new recreational facilities. But in any case, some of this has already been addressed.
Yeah.
And I would kind of add that maybe we might want to work on this goal, because like Pete was saying earlier, the word enhance is kind of a much better word. I don't know if provide is a very good word in this goal when we're looking at it later on. And, you know, we might just provide North Brookfield with varied and well-maintained recreational opportunities and facilities. And I know that's a broad goal, but maybe it should be a little bit more less broad, even though even though that's the whole point. I think maybe we need to think about this a little bit more. I know one of the things that we're working on with DDC is ensuring that this goes from like ages, 0 to 99. So we're trying to make sure that not only things are ADA compliant, and that we're going to upgrade a lot of our sidewalks and fix a lot of walkways and entranceways for people, because we do have a really great over 55 community here. But also we want to make sure that that over 55 community is also balanced with the children of the town as well. So I know one of the things that, like I said earlier, Danny's working on is really upgrading our common to be a very varied, I guess, as that word says, place where kids can go play. They'll be but then also, our seniors from up at the center of town can walk over there and enjoy not only walkways, but maybe some spaces that they're going to be able to do, some different exercise materials and stuff at too. So I think that maybe we need to think about how we might want to reword this a little bit. I think it's a great goal. I don't think it should leave. I think we should think about how we might want to reword it.
That sounds good. That brings up an idea that I had. We're writing our goals, but we should keep in mind projects that we might want to do, and make sure that sort of thing is mentioned in our open space and recreation plan, so that when it comes time to doing those things, we'll have it in our plan, which will make it more likely that we'll receive the grant. So we kind of work both ways, what we want and then what we plan to do kind of work together, what we hope to do. So I think maybe rewriting this is a good idea. Any other ideas?
It does seem like a lot of the issues that Joe Holloway brought up would really fit well under here, in terms of the goal of having a committee that would kind of oversee maintenance and grants and volunteer work and interfacing with the school and youth and all those things. I mean, those are things that could go under this goal, it seems like.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And it's kind of perhaps even, it does kind of interface with the last goal also in terms of education and enhancement. But a lot of the comments that have come up have had to do with information and education. And so that would be part of this as well, it seems like, in terms of educating people and maintaining them.
Mm-hmm.
I had just one comment was, in terms of if you had an area where people like to walk for their exercise, and I say you made it very aesthetically pleasing as you're hoping to do with the downtown area. If you might include a few exercise stations space strategically around there so
For
that they
health.
either could have a bar that they could do a pull up on, or just a few simple things. They're not going to, not something that they're going to kill themselves on, but that's a safe piece of exercise equipment that they could so people could get into the habit of not only doing their walk but doing some resistance training at the same time.
That would be great.
All right, guys, I'm just making a point. We're at 8:26. Maybe we can round this up in the next couple minutes. We're getting great feedback. I love it. An awesome idea, Dave.
Yeah. There was a goal, one other goal that I wanted to talk about. Don't forget about that, Sheila, but it can be really quick.
Yep, go ahead. I think it's important.
Anything else to say about this goal before we move along?
I think this would be great to have as well, because I like how it really, it's really a kind of a macro goal and covers all the interconnectedness of the different pieces that we've been talking about. So I like the idea.
Are you referring to goal 4, Harbor?
Oh, I thought there's a goal up on the screen.
That's your goal, Ann.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
Thanks, Harbor. What I as I was looking through the stuff online that the state offers, they had a goal that I thought looked kind of good, but I rewrote it to be more reflective of North Brookfield, and so so this is how I rewrote it: to create a resilient, connected network of protected lands where natural systems can provide the ecological services that will maintain the health and well-being of North Brookfield residents into the future. So I wrote this to specifically include the ecosystem services into our open space plan. So yeah, any comments about this? Is this something we would want to add as a 5th goal?
I like it.
Definitely. Yes.
Great. Okay, I see a lot of thumbs up.
We have a hands up. Mr. Pete Dupel, you got your hand up.
I absolutely love this goal. I think it's probably the most progressive goal that we've seen tonight. I think some of the goals that we've looked at tonight are a little bit more tactical in nature about, dealing with issues that we face today. This is future. This is really about, and I don't know about climate change. I'm 54 years old. I don't profess to be an expert in any of this stuff. But what I can tell you is that, our country started with farming. Our country started with resilience. I love these words. Our country started with, ecology and being able to work the land. And I think it's a nice goal to have out there, even if it's broad-based and it's not very succinct. I think it's progressive. I think this is one that we certainly should put in the goals we have. And again, it might be a goal that people can't really resonate with because it's a little bit squishy, and squishy's okay. But, we're living in a squishy world. We don't know where we're going, honestly. And I think this is a broad-based goal. And this is one that I would, in some other terms, I would give a team that works for me and say, open your minds. Think about how we evolve, because we just don't know what's around the next corner. We just don't know. And this goal particularly addresses all of those issues. Sorry about the dog. So she's listening because she wants to eat as well. And honestly, my dog is probably as resilient as any, and she knows this stuff, and she knows how to get out there and work the land and everything else. I think this is awesome. This is the best goal I've seen tonight, and I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I like that sound of that. because this goal is important to me too. And it is about the future. It's about protecting the nature that keeps us alive, and that does sound like hyperbole, but is absolutely the truth. And it's optimistic to think that human beings can turn around this terrible situation we find ourselves in. I've been studying a lot about how to regenerate the earth, and it is possible. We know how to do it. We just gotta share the knowledge and then get to work on it. So I guess this is, I think he stated it very well. This is about the future.
Maybe this should be the #1 goal, and then the other, because it's macro goal and sets the framework for everything else. And then the others could be 2, 3, 4, 5.
Great feedback. Thank you, Harbor. That is great.
I agree.
You guys are great. Can I move on to the next slide for us, Ian?
Sure.
So we did have 5 to 10 minutes of additional chat, but just so you know too, we've got Ian's email here, fabhicks@aol.com. So before we get into the last comments, I just want to say thank you to everybody. This was really, really fabulous. We'll stay on and keep taking some comments, but if anybody wants to take off, we want to just thank you so much for being here. And please recall, we've got about 2 to 3 more of these forums, and then we won't have any more for a couple of years. So it's only this year, and what the heck? What do you got to do during COVID anyway? Hang out with us in the comfort of your home, talking about different things that happen to be the future of North Brookfield. So we're really glad that you're here. We hope that you join us for the next couple that we're going to have. We're going to do our best to put that information out so everybody can join for those, and tell your friends and family that live in North Brookfield to come join for those as well. So I'll let us finish up with some final comments and just say thank you to everybody who's here. And if you want to stay, you can. And if you want to dump out, you can. We'll keep going till like 8:45 then for about 10 more minutes. Let everybody chime into everything and we'll see where we go from there.
I want to echo that. Thank you, everyone. Your comments are fantastic, and we will work them into the plan.
I just wanted to chime in. One thing that kind of came to my mind, if anybody wants to, put anything out there that popped into their heads, was that we have quite a few people that were talking about, like, I want a map, or I want to be able to go online to find different things. Maybe we want to put something in our open space and recreational plan that has to do with where people can digitally find things, or find things in our library, or I know that has to do with the educational source, but maybe that should be an objective that we put in there, that we've got a digital format for open space and recreation, that people can find those items so that they're a lot more, that they're just easier for people to find. So I think that might be a good objective that we toss under one of those goals somewhere. Thanks, Sue.
I just make a comment here.
Absolutely. I think that's Brandon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just want to say that these goals aren't going to be achievable without the help of the people of the town. So if anybody wants to get involved, that'd be great. There's a lot of ways to get involved. There's committees always open for the town, like recreation committee, the town beach committee, and such like that. So get involved and help move this agenda forward if you're interested.
Thanks, Brandon. Has everybody had dinner yet? I'm getting kind of hungry.
Well, thank you, Ann and Sheila. I'm going to go away now, but I do see how, I think maybe your last goal should be number one. And under that, I think, the more education we can do, the better. And National Wildlife habitats, if we could talk about that as well, in there, trying to get people to set up their own backyards as a habitat for wildlife and to conserve the water and water gardens and things like that. The more information I think we can put out, the better it is for our environment and for our water system and just for that whole last goal of yours. So bye, everybody. This was just terrific.
Right. So just a comment to everyone regarding your backyard as wildlife habitat. The East Quabbin Land Trust is doing a community book read. Bringing Nature Home is the title, and it is by Mr. Tallamy. I can't remember his first name, Tallamy. And he talks about the importance of us planting native plants in our backyards so that the insects can feed on them and in turn promote the food chain in our own backyards, since we're losing a lot of the nature and a lot of invasive species have come in which do not feed our insects or native wildlife. They've not evolved to eat those invasive plants or introduce plants. So what Marilyn says is quite right. Our backyards need to become wildlife habitat. Anyway, East Quabbin Land Trust. You can go onto their website and find out more about that.
I need to join.
I was also just going to add to that the library could be, I think, a really great partner for educational programming and distribution of materials. Dawn Thistle is always looking for programming and really wants to partner with different groups around town and the school, and so there could be workshops, there could be obviously there's the May Festival that we've done every year except when there's a pandemic. But anyway, just wanted to throw that out. And then the Cultural Council also, as you know, there can be grants for specific projects or enterprises too. So there's those resources for the objectives that you guys have been talking about.
I've got Brandon's hand up. Brandon, go ahead. Did you have something you wanted to comment on?
Never mind. I just forgot to take that down. Thank you.
Looks like Kim has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kim.
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much. This was a very, very informative meeting for me. It's my first time with you guys. I appreciate it, and I look forward to your next meetings. It was very, very informative. I've only been in the town for 20 years, so I don't know a lot of what you're talking about, like the old time stuff, like when you were putting up, the historical stuff. I don't know that. But you guys were, I'm so enthused of where the town's going. So enthused.
Kim, you are making me want to do a scavenger hunt so badly.
I will run it for you because
we would have a
So much
blast.
fun. That would
definitely be a
really
great socially distanced event we could do. I think we should put that on our list. I love it.
Yeah, a scavenger hunt for all that stuff. That would be fun.
That would be super
so
fun. Yep.
But yeah, thank you. I do have to take my dogs out. So I just wanted to say I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to do this and inform us. And everybody that came, thank you for coming. I love to see that our town is coming together and we're learning and growing and having a great time.
Great to have you here, Kim.
All right,
Thank
have a
you.
great night, guys.
You too. Don't be afraid. You want to say something? Come on in.
Well, I just want to say, echo what was just said by Kim, and that you guys did a fabulous job. I learned so much, and thank you for all your hard work. Just really well done, and it's exciting. So, and to all the participants, really great comments and ideas and discussion. So bravo, thank you.
Thank you for all your comments tonight too, Harper. You put a lot on the table for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Oh, I got a couple chatters over here. Oh, we got a couple people saying thank you and goodbye, so that's great. Well, we got 8:42. Everybody seems pretty quiet. I think we're okay with bringing this to an end, if you guys are okay with that. Do we have it? Yeah, we got to thank you. So there you go. Thank you guys all from the Master Plan Committee. We're really, really glad you were here. Please join us again on the next couple. They won't be on open space. They'll be on something else, but I'm sure you'll give us plenty of information and we'll be able to use that to make NB even better over the next 5 to 10 years. So thank you all so much, and make sure you keep an eye out over the next month or so for our next couple forums. We'll probably be having one, I'm guessing, end of March, end of February, March, and April. Probably one a month, if not more than that. We haven't had that discussion at all. I'm literally making stuff up from the Master Plan Committee, but I think after this one went so well, we should be able to get the other ones up pretty quick and have some really great ones. So keep your eyes out, guys. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you so much.
Great job.
Great job. Yep. Thank you.
John, do we
Yeah.
have do we have a next meeting planned?
We do not. We need to talk about that.
It's really there.
Do you guys mind if I stop the recording at this point or pause it?